We are back with a Fox Business Alert on this Friday morning. Stock futures right now rallying, looking to gain back some of yesterday's big losses, Brian.
Hey, I'm seasick. The Dow plunging more than 1,800 points. It's the worst day since mid-March. We keep setting records both ways. The Nasdaq losing 527 points. The S&P dropping 188 points, Ainsley.
The losses came as coronavirus cases spike in some parts of our country, and investors fear a resurgence of the infections.
Let's bring in Larry Kudlow, Director of National Economic Council. He joins us from the White House. So, Larry, some people had said that the big sell-off yesterday was because there's a spike in cases in a number of states. Maybe there's going to be a second wave. Was it that, or was it the fact that we've had such a run-up in the stock market? People thought, you know what, this might be a good time to take some profits.
Well, it's probably a little bit of both. Those are both good points. Look, I'm not the health expert, but on the so-called spike, I spoke to our health experts at some length last evening. They are saying there is no second spike. Let me repeat that. There is no second spike. And as Secretary Mnuchin said yesterday in testimony, and I totally agree, we are not going to shut down the economy. What you do have is certain spots are seeing a little bit of a jump up. Some small metropolitan areas are seeing it. The CDC and the health people are all over it. They've sent some task forces out to deal with it. You know, nowadays we have much better equipment, much more experience, much more testing. I mean, the testing itself has jumped up, so you're going to get a little more positivity from that. But if you look nationally, important point is the rate of increase of new cases is between 0 and 1%. It's really flattened out. And with respect to fatalities, it's the same. It's actually lower than that. It's like 0 to 0.5%. So if I can calm fears, again, I'm not the health expert. Ambassador Birx may be out and about later today. Nonetheless, there is no emergency. There is no second wave. I don't know where that got started on Wall Street.
I tell you, I love the fact that Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin says not another shutdown regardless. Meanwhile, let's talk about you have money left in the PPP program. So, you know, there's a lot of concern that the time is up and they're going to turn into a loan instead of a grant. So what are the changes to the PPP program and tax credits that you could tell the American people about?
Well, two changes from the legislation the president signed last Friday. And by the way, let's not forget, last Friday, we had an incredible increase of 3 million jobs plus a lower unemployment rate, which shows that the reopening is moving into economic rebound. Now, having said that, there's about, I don't know, 100 billion plus left in the Paycheck Protection Program. They've done a remarkable job of getting it out. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office cited us for efficiency in getting these things out. There is about 100 billion left. I think they extended it. The congressional legislation extended it, I believe, from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. And with respect to allocation of the loans, which probably will be forgiven, you've got 60% now allocated to payrolls, so 40% can go to other expenses, which are important. I think it was a constructive change that the president did favor.
So, Larry, you mentioned the increase of 3 million jobs with the last jobless claims report. When do you expect that we will rebound? Will that be before the election, rebound to where we were before Corona?
Well, look, you know, there's so many green shoots popping up in terms of early recovery. That's what's given us a much more optimistic feeling. I mean, not all is well yet. I get that. There's still a lot of heartbreak. You still got a lot of people unemployed. So there's a lot of heartburn on that, and that's going to be a problem. But, let me say, whether it's the Apple Mobility Index, which shows more people traveling by car, whether it's new business applications, which are soaring, businesses are open, automobile demand is strong, housing demand is off the charts right now, back to pre-pandemic levels. There are a number of these green shoots that suggest, number one, we are reopening. Number two, the payroll protection program did work. So what you got, instead of 18 million people on temporary layoffs, it dropped to 15 million people. 3 million people went back to work. Looking at this now, I think virtually 100% or 90-something% of small businesses will reopen in the next month. The number is 80% according to the Chamber of Commerce. That hasn't been scored yet. So when we get the June figures in July, I'm looking for another decline in unemployment and another big increase in employment. And I see no reason why this cannot, journal itself through. We are looking for 20% economic growth in the second half of the year. We referenced the Congressional Budget Office there, too. They're seeing similar numbers, and a very strong 2021. And, the president rebuilt this economy on lower taxes and deregulation once. Those things are still going to be in place. He can rebuild it again. We will probably have an economic growth-oriented legislative package next month when we come around to formal negotiations. So I see the glass is way half full, and I think America's going to take off again like a rocket. This hurricane, this bad snowstorm, this terrible pandemic virus is going to go away, and we will be okay. I mean, people have to keep their chins up, I think.
All right, with an optimistic view from the White House, Larry Kudlow. Larry, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
My
Larry.
pleasure. Thanks.